Just watching the Eastern Business Report right here on the Afia Business Morning. Internally generated revenue, or IGR, is a lifeline of any state that wants to grow beyond federal handouts. And in the Southeast, the numbers tell an interesting story. Enugu leads with 33.86 billion naira, followed closely by Anambra at 33.46 billion naira. Ebonyi clocks in at 30.84 billion naira. Abia follows with 23.73 billion naira, and Imo trails at just 21.05 billion naira. But beyond these figures, who is truly building the systems and structures that drive real growth in the Southeast? Joining me now is Anitche Ndudim Rowland, financial analyst and CEO, Rugon Capital Limited. You're welcome on the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Is that pronounced Rugon or Rugon?
Rugon.
Rugon. So yeah, let's just get straight into our conversation. IGR is more than a buzzword. It shows how much money states can generate without the help or the aid of the federal government. Why is it critical for states like Enugu, Anambra, states in the South is basically to build solid IGR for themselves?
Okay, the IGR, you're all talking about states generating revenue from taxes and levies to augment federal receipts. And so the ramp up, you could see there's a growing increase in Nigeria across states in the region. Number one, it could be it's a reflection of the collection mechanisms put in place to ensure that every revenue is captured, or what you hear, you've expanded the tax nets to gather everything into the state coffers without leakages. Then it could also be a function of how the state has expanded the productive base by expanding democratic dividends to that state. When I say that, it could be either building more roads for industrialization or setting up sites and services for new estates, or creating new markets or new hubs. It could be agricultural hubs, commercial hubs, industrial hubs. So these are growth drivers. It could also be providing health services so that the place becomes a health tourist venue. So there are so many indices for that. So you just have to balance it. But mind you, you should also be looking at the IGR, which is the credit. It's revenue, income. You should also balance it up with the loans it takes. Because it cannot just be IGR. You should also be looking at what the amount of loans the states are taking, so that you have a balanced view of what's going on.
I'd like us to begin with Enugu State. Because we're in Enugu, and we've seen that Governor Mba has projected Enugu IGR to skyrocket from 144 billion naira to 600 billion naira in 2025. Is this feasible, and what has to change for this to happen?
Okay, sometime last year, December, I was here on this studio where we explained more about the government budget for this year. As of third quarter 2024, the IGR of the state was 3.9. It was widely discussed. By fourth quarter, the IGR, within the space of 3 months, the IGR shot up to 140. How is it realistic? You've been generating 3.9 for 9 months. And then the last 3 months, you were doing 40 billion every month. I sent you do you have the fourth quarter here? You don't? Okay. You can also access it. So, fourth quarter, the IGR shot up to 140. And you're like, what's happening here? How feasible is this? What's the explanation? There were no notes. The fourth quarter performance is published by the state, so it's a document everybody can access. You just go to Enugu, just Google Enugu fourth quarter budget performance, 2024. The whole data comes out. So the first quarter of 2025 is out. And I think I saw about 14 billion. 14 billion on average every month. Okay, from 3.9 to 40 billion every month, you're now doing 14.
Mr. Rowland, please, we need to go on this quick break. We'll come back to you. Okay. Eastern Business Reports will return shortly. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. You're still watching the Eastern Business Report right here on Afia TV. And we still have Mr. Rowland with us. Mr. Rowland, yeah, please go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, once IGR is increasing, it's a good sign. But there are so many things you should look underneath. If the taxes are progressive, it is fair, and does not amount to double taxation, and if it's convenient, then if it supports businesses, then you also need to look at the investment the state has been doing, if it's commensurate with what it's collecting as taxes. I'll just give you a typical example. Definitely, normally for every state, you should look at, you spend first, you tax, then maybe you now borrow. It's a cycle which you will do. Because it's when you spend, that money goes into the system. People earn money, then you now go back to because it's also supposed to grow businesses in that area and create a demand. You now go back to take legitimate tax into the coffers, so that it's a revolving cycle. But when the state taxes more and spends less, there's a deficit to the side of the people. Because if I take more money from you than I'm giving you money, you'll be on a deficit. And so when I don't know if you're aware, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics ranked Enugu as amongst the most expensive place to live. So it doesn't balance very well. Your revenue is increasing, but your cost of living is on the high. What are it? Because there are issues about excess taxes, double taxation in Enugu State. Because I argued it here that, look, what the governor has just done, because 60% of the budget is on IGR, and you're going from 3.9 billion to 40. What is telling you that? It is citizens, or not citizens, residents of Enugu who fund the budget. Meanwhile, there's no growth to the citizens. I don't know if you understand it very well now. So it's a whole lot. You need to look at the big outlook. What is the government spending? How commensurate is it? Is it helping the society? And is it going to deepen growth in Enugu State? But an independent survey by a government agency ranked Enugu as one of the most expensive states to live in the state. So it doesn't add up.
Let's talk about Imo State.
Yeah.
Of all the Southeast states, Imo State seems to be struggling to generate revenue for themselves in the state. Would you say this is as a result of poor policy? What would you say is wrong?
Okay, the box stops at the governors. What policies have you embarked upon? Are they humane enough? I'm from Imo State, unfortunately, and Imo is the laggard. It's just on the last end. In terms of revenue, in terms of, they even collect more loans than the entire Southeast states. And what's actually happening here? It's a reflection of the level of governance, the impact of the democratic dividends that has been done in that state. So, you can't give what you don't have. If you don't spend, if you don't direct projects that will impact the lives of the residents in Enugu or any state, it will show you the IGR. Because money or capital, it's like it's like a bee. It goes to where there is nectar. So if there's a place that is ripe for investment, there's security, one, there's access to good roads, there is cost of living is good. Money goes into that place. The environment is friendly. So money, capital will always go to a place where an environment that is friendly. Then we need to look at the governance principles within the states. How responsible is the governor or the government? Is he able to, for all the revenue, all the federal receipts that have been collected, what has been done, what roads, what hospitals, the education, how has these funds been invested in those areas? You also need to look at the loans too that has been taken, because every loan has a payback. You have to pay back those loans, and those loans eat up the amount of money you spend. Because when you take loans, you will pay back from federal receipts and your IGR. So if your loans are heavy, you have to pay, your repayment will have to be very heavy. And so it reduces the amount of money you can use to run the states. So that's how you look at IGR. You should rank it vis-a-vis the spending culture and the loans you take. And mind you, some of this data is more or less like a picture taking. And that's why if you look at it, they take this data on a quarterly basis, either as at 31st March, 31st, the 1st of August, every quarter, then 31st of October, of December, then 30th of September. So we're looking at this year now. We're looking at as at 31st March, what has happened. There's a recent data which I sent right around about loans, both foreign and local loans that have been taken by states. You can see there are like 3 states out of the region that has been taking both local loans and foreign loans. I know Abia, Enugu, and Imo were amongst the states. Unlike Anambra, which has been very well run for the past three governors. They've shown prudence in both in their IGR and resource and then the management of their revenue. So you will now see the data will tell you, okay, who is actually doing very well. And like you said, Imo ranks the list. And is a function of the governors or the governance in that area.
What would you have to say about Abia State? They have one of the biggest markets, so that is a commercial hub. Would you say they are not utilizing what they have to maximize revenue?
Okay. You should know Abia has a history. They've had a history for the past 24 years of governors that have not lived up to expectation. And so with OT coming on board, there's a new ease of life, and we're hearing different stories. So Abia, and then if you give Abia if Abia can sustain this trend for the next 16 years, you will see a better picture in Abia State. You know, Anambra has set a template from P2B to Obiano, and so you could see a growing trend. Abia has just started a new race under OT, and so the potentials will come up in future if they sustain this trend of development, opening up new areas, building roads, connecting commercial hubs, now you know there's a rail coming up from Port Harcourt to Abia, and so that's going to really improve trade and commerce around those areas. Rather than using buses to buy goods, everybody can make use of the rails. So you can also see them opening markets, even talking about opening the seaports there. So Abia has the potential to surpass the entire region, to surpass the entire states in the region. But it will take time. So there are positive developments coming from Abia State, and with a governor that is responsible, an ex-banker and really knows what he's doing, the prospects are high.
I would like you to I would like to get your comments on Ebonyi State as well. You know, we're treating other states in the Southeast. As last year, 2024, the data from Ebonyi was 30.8 billion naira, performs closely to Anambra despite fewer urban centers in Ebonyi. Is there a replication opportunity here?
You see, it's not a question of Ebonyi is small, but they've not done badly. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. It's a young state, basically an agrarian community, with just, maybe Abakaliki, the state capital, and Afia. So it's not really a big town, but you can still be fair. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. I want to see them transform that area as an agricultural hub on a big scale, with the rice farming, rice farming in particular. They could also grow so many other areas. And they also have a mining area, which is, the potentials there are huge. So it's a question of deepening investments in those areas so that it becomes a hub. If that place is opened up for more businesses, people will leave and relocate to Abakaliki or maybe Afia. So the potentials are there to even surpass incumbent states that have been there for years. If you know, the oldest in the region is Anambra and Imo. So there's an opportunity to overtake incumbents. So I want it to be lovely to see Ebonyi come up to unseat incumbents in the region.
All right, before we let you go, Mr. Rowland, our time is fast spent. I'd like to, know what you would tell the Southeast governors to do to increase their IGR without overtaxing. Because you made a statement earlier that Governor Peter Amba is overtaxing Enugu State, and that's how he's getting his revenue back in the state. So what should they do to, generate revenue and still not overtax residents?
Okay. The moment your investment is heavy, your roads network is heavy. Because whenever you're creating more roads, expanding more roads, or expanding cities, it has a general impact across everybody. Because you've increased the value of properties around those areas. People are confident that, hey, I can actually come in here, do my business, my property values are increasing. The taxes are fair. I don't know if you lived in the era of Sullivan, Barrister Sullivan Chime. Oh, it was a beauty. There were investments by the state. Everybody saw it. Yes, taxes were there, but it was fair. You will know that, yes, you owe this government a responsibility to pay your taxes because they've done well.
But we saw what happened after Sullivan's administration.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to...
You see, what happened, I'm sorry to say, was a disaster. Because we went from heaven to hell. And so the hell should not be a standard. Rather, we should look at where we were as of 2015 under Sullivan. And that was the benchmark. And so we should keep going up that way. So that's the standard. Then we should also look at, like for the states, we've said it in this one of the Southeast summits, the governors should coordinate their developments to be in sync and open economic hubs. I want to see Enugu and Anambra open up a corridor along the express road, or like maybe a residential housing estate or industrial layout between Anambra and Imo. Enugu can also do the same thing between Enugu and Ebonyi. From MNA access, open that area up so that you drive developments downwards. Ebonyi and Abia can do the same thing along the roads. Imo and Abia can do the same thing so that there's a network.
All right.
It could be rail. It could be rail. Rail could be the magic one where there's an interconnectivity amongst the states, and the entire area will blossom.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rowland. Our time is fast spent. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we can take on the Eastern Business Report. Till I see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for another edition of the Afia Business Morning. I am Marvellous Apuamaga, saying have a profitable business day. And of course, up next is Abia. Many thanks for watching.